Hi, everybody. Welcome. Happy new month. Happy August. It's a pleasure to see you here. Welcome. I'm just going to check, what is it called? I'm going to check TikTok to see if they can comment. Because somebody on TikTok told me that. Hello, welcome. Last week, someone on TikTok told me that they're not able to comment or to message me. So if anybody could just write a comment, share a comment on TikTok to show me that you can see me, you can hear me, you can make a comment. Somebody told me they are not able to send comments on TikTok. I hope I have fixed it because I've tried to. They told me it said subscribers only, but I did not do subscribers only. So hopefully you can message today. Hello everybody, welcome back. This is telling me that I'm using too much memory. I don't know what memory that is. I'm live here on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. Welcome everybody. If you were here last week, we were reading and completing the Inner Child workbook, and Afrocentric, actually a lady called Afrocentric sent me the message. So I hope somebody can message me on TikTok to show me that they can send a message. Okay, so I am Empress Fire. I am from the Gambia, West Africa. My vision, hello. Oh, hi. That's my brother from the Gambia. Nice to see you here. So I talk about adverse childhood experiences. I talk about childhood trauma. I am from the Gambia, West Africa, and now I live in Brooklyn, New York. I love Brooklyn. And I studied psychology, black psychology. I studied black history, Afrocentric consciousness, right? Just as a way of understanding myself and knowing who I am, and also understanding why I do the things that I do. Hello, Maisha. Welcome. Right? Knowing why I do what I do, understanding who I am, also understanding my family and why we are the way that we are. Now on TikTok, the live doesn't save, but if you go on my YouTube, if you come on my Instagram, you can find the saved live and then you can watch it again. And feel free to send me a message. Feel free to comment, to have any questions. I don't have one structure of doing the live. I read from the book, I break it down. Sometimes people on Facebook or on Instagram will send me questions, right? And then we will break down the questions and talk about it the best way we know how. I am also a businesswoman, right? And my business is tied to health and wellness, understanding yourself. If great morning, sunshine, right? So the things that I talk about is in line with the business that I do. The business that I do is in line with the things that I talk about. So if you check the links on my bio, you could see that we have a group which is for breaking generational curses. I have other products that I use for myself, for self-care, for self-love, both men and women, right? So as we go, some of the products you might see me use them. Some of them are for women's health. They are also cleansing products. Cleanse your mind, body, and soul that I sell as well, right? So I talk about adverse childhood experiences and childhood trauma and how to avoid them, how to break the generational curses and the generational cycle of toxicity that many of us were raised in, many of us were born in. And in line with that, we have our own communities and our own groups where we come together and talk about these issues. We meditate every morning, Monday to Thursday, right? We come together in the community also to help each other. They are both men and women in the community. So it's open, and it's called Girl Hold My Hand. If you check the links on my bio, you will find it. If anything I say today relates to you and you understand it and you feel it on a soul level, I'm not here to motivate you. I'm not here to make you feel good, right? I am here to share what I have learned on my journey to healing myself. So I start with that just so that if anybody thought we're here to have, it's fun and dancing and all of that, they can leave, because we're not doing that. It's not about being serious, but it's also about healing and understanding the generational legacy, what our ancestors left us with, the things that we need to get out of our lives, right? The toxic relationships that we are in and don't even know that we're in toxic relationships. I used to do a podcast. I used to be in fashion. I used to model. I'm still in fashion, right? And I used to do a podcast as well, a woman's podcast on an all women's app. And it blew my mind to see that most of us women, but men as well, because this goes both ways, right? Many a time in our society, we don't talk about the abuse that men also go through. Women get abused, but also men get abused as well. So when I was doing my podcast, and it was every day and then once a week, but I got so overwhelmed with people's pain that I stopped doing the podcast. But it blew my mind to see that many people have no idea that they are in toxic relationships. Many people have no idea that their habits and the way that they live their life and the way that they think about themselves. Great morning, beautiful. Thank you for stopping by. Hi, Queen. Thank you. Many people have no idea that the things that they do every single day, they are on autopilot, right? Psychologically, right? Autopilot. When you are just going every day and you have no idea that you need to break your habits. We're constantly attracting the same men or the same women. For me, it has been attracting the same men, falling in love with the same men, just in different sneakers. The toxicity, and I had no idea this is what I was doing, not understanding that the men that I was attracted to were basically the types of men that my family wants me to be with, and not necessarily the men that are healthy for me, right? In my neighborhood, I've spoken to men, one guy that's coming to mind, right? Beautiful guy, handsome, Caribbean, tall, with long dreads. And we were having a conversation. And he was married and he got cheated on. So he got a divorce. And then in the midst of the conversation, he said, I don't know why I keep attracting the same woman. Right? All the women that I have had, they're either players or they've cheated on me or they just want me for money. And I'm like, what have you done to heal? His answer blew my mind. He said, healing. I don't need to heal. I go from one woman to the other. The next woman is my healing. And I told him, no wonder you attract the women that you attract, right? Because most men, when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to healing, when it comes to understanding themselves, they see it as woo. And some of us women, just nobody ever told us, because most women go along the route of spirituality, but if your family have never taught you about yourself, because spirituality, my mouth is getting dry, spirituality is different from religion. I had to learn this the hard way, because I am from a very strictly Muslim family, right? Somebody's here who can attest to that. I'm from a very strict Muslim family, but coming from a strict religious family did not help me know who I am as a woman. Love myself, believe in myself, know me fundamentally deep in my soul. Religion did not help me with that. I had to go along the route of African spirituality. So going back to my ancestors, my grandmother, who was my friend, passed away. So for me, getting to the point and having the power to see her pictures, to talk to her, even though she is not alive anymore, to believe that I can talk to the dead, and it's not even talking to the dead, which is something we do every day. But then when we talk about African spirituality, people say that it's demonic, right? We still listen to Michael Jackson. We still love Tupac. We still love, I'm trying to think, Mandela. We still love Mother Teresa. The ancestors, they are part of the ancestors. We still listen to Whitney Houston, right? They are our ancestors, tapping into their pain, understanding what they went through, the same as looking back to the African deities, the African orishas, right? I had to tap into that, tap into Christianity, understanding that Christianity from its very root is African. Islam from its very root has African spirituality in it. These are things that I never knew before. It took me years. I am 35 now, 35 and gorgeous, right? But until late in my 20s, 28, 29, going to 30, that's when I started to understand these things. Because I always say that the things I talk about, it's not just from school. I actually went back to school because I wanted to know, I wanted to understand myself. So I didn't go to school to find a job. I went to school to know me. Right? So I'm going to go in now. If you have any questions, we can stop and break things down. We have done step 1. We have done step 2. I created a playlist on my YouTube, which is Empress Fire, Oracles Plays from 2 names, right? If you've never watched the movie The Matrix, watch it. Don't watch it like a movie. Watch it to study it. And the lady who played the Matrix, Gloria Foster, she's also an ancestor, an African American, right? So she is the oracle. So I named it after her, Oracles Place. But also oracles in African spirituality, in African culture, going back to my own ancestry, the oracle, right, is a powerful person, is a healer in the community, is someone who shares knowledge, impacts the community, all of that good stuff. Some people would say, tell the future. But then if you heal yourself, you don't need an oracle to tell you the future, right? I am not saying that I am all of these things, but I tap into my ancestors to give me the power, the messages that I share with anybody who wish to heal. In the same way, I sell the products. We have the communities for anybody who is ready to really take charge of their lives, of their mind, be in the driver's seat of their life and not just be in the passenger seat of their life. Because if you are in the passenger seat of your life, that means somebody else, something else is driving your life. You are not driving your life. As I always say that if you're watching me and if you're listening to me and you feel like right now where you are, right now as we are speaking, you feel stuck in your life. If you feel stuck, because I've always been stuck, so I know stuckness. If you feel stuck, something or someone else is driving your life and you are not. If you feel stuck, something needs to change in your life and you are not taking the steps necessary to change your life. Right? So let's go in. Step 3 is regress and experience your pain. Experience your pain. The pain that you have right now. Experience it, feel it, and sit with it. Right? I had to understand that there's a lot of people as well who don't even know that they have trauma, who don't even know that what they experienced during their childhood is trauma. I was one of those people. I had no idea that what I went through in my childhood was trauma. I thought it was normal, right? So I would trauma dump, I would talk about trauma freely to people, and people would just shut me off. Not for me, not knowing that, oh, that's my purpose, that's what I need to talk about. But in order for me to talk about it, I need to heal. So being able to sit with your pain, before I read this, right, being able to sit with your pain is an easy and fast way to healing. It's easier said than done. Because most of the things that we do, most of the destructive habits that we have is geared towards what? Running away from our pain. It can be using substances. I did that. It can be using sex. I did that. I said one day I will talk about sexual trauma because I didn't know that my family had sexual trauma until I understood my own trauma, right? Some people use food as a way to numb themselves, which is why in our community that I spoke about, it's all about exercising, right? Eating healthy, eating right, seeing that you're running away from your pain by stress eating. The cleanses that I sell, the cleanses that we sell, right? Sometimes I talk about, if you don't want to buy what I sell, I can give you herbs that you can use as well for free. You can get it at your grocery store. One of them is senna. Senna is a herb, is a leaf that you can boil to cleanse yourself. It's much more intense than the products I sell, and obviously it's trial and error because I have used it, right? But it's an herb that you can buy from the grocery store. Boil it, drink it, start cleansing your body today, right? Get into the habit of not stress eating. Because stress eating is part of running away from our pain. For me, it was lack of eating. I wouldn't eat, but I will exercise rigorously and then get so tiny and unhealthy, even though I was constantly exercising. Why? Because it was a way of running away from my pain. Some people trauma dump. Anybody who would listen to you, you would tell them everything that happened to you. I dated a guy like that, but at that point, I didn't know everything that I know now. Sometimes in religious settings, you go to the church, you go to the mosque, synagogue, monastery, you name it. You might find the most religious person, but also the person who's in a whole lot more pain, to the point that they cannot give you wisdom. They tell you you will go into hell. They tell you whatever, whatever, right? Because they just using their pain to do their summon. Maybe that's the imam, whatever it is. So we have different ways of running away from our pain. Let's get into the book. Today I am drinking tonic water. I have my regular water, but I'm also drinking tonic water, something I never liked as a child. But then eventually I learned there are health benefits in drinking tonic water. I don't sell it. You can get tonic water anywhere. Research it for yourself. And if it works for you, you can use it as part of your health journey, your regimen, your diet, whatever it is. Step 3. I love the tonic water. It goes right here. Step 3. Regress and experience your pain. You repress not only the pain from your childhood, but also your joy and inspiration. Right? If you check the post that I made about this life, I talked about how it's time for us to walk in our purpose. So when you are stuffing your pain down, and stuffing it can be in any way, when you're doing that, you are also suppressing your joy, your inspiration, and your life purpose. I was there, right? The things I talk about, I went through, I experienced, and then I studied. And now I'm here talking about it. And I held my pain in for a long time. Another one that I forgot to say is, if you are a workaholic, like I am a workaholic, but now I have learned that there are different levels of it. I used to be a visual merchandiser. I mentioned how I have been in fashion forever, still in fashion. I used to be a visual merchandiser for H&M. Beautiful job. I loved it. The only reason I left is that they would not promote me. You know how companies go. But if you are a workaholic where you don't stop, I used to work 12 hours. The company did not ask me to do that. I would do 12 hours and I would skip lunch, my lunch, to the point the managers and the supervisors would constantly push me to take my lunch break. Or sometimes they would not schedule me to work because they would say, you are working too much. But I knew if I was working that much, there's no time to feel the pain, right? There's no time to feel the pain. And right now, I am seeing my own sister, my younger sister, do that because of the trauma that we came from in our family. Right? So being workaholic is fine to an extent. Right now, I work all day, but I'm working from home. What I'm doing now is work, but it suits my soul. It feels good. It doesn't feel like work. When I do this, I feel so much joy from the people who are just watching and the questions I have. Right? So it doesn't feel like work anymore. But part of putting, you could see people who, they cannot stop. They cannot stop. They cannot calm down. Right? They break down easily. Maybe you get drained easily. You are running away from something. You get depressed easily. Maybe you are depressed right now that you're watching me. You are running away from something. if you want to reclaim the joy and heal the pain, it will be necessary for you to experience the feelings from each age. Each age, as in, if you feel by any chance that you have childhood trauma or anything that I talk about, you can relate to it, then going back to your childhood and looking at the pain. I always say from 0 to 5, from 5 to 10, 10 to 15, even 15 to 20, understanding what you went through. What is it you went through? What are the feelings that you were not able to process as a child? Which is what the book calls the inner children. Different aspect of your pain comes from different ages and different parts of your childhood. Right? So intentional regression is one way to experience your childhood. You regress when you revert to an earlier or less adapted pattern of behavior and feeling. Activities that enhance your regression helps you regress by suggesting activities that will trigger childhood memories and enable you to re-encounter sensations of each stage. Regression. I knew what regression was in psychology. I cannot remember. Let me look it up for you. Regression. Right, regression, a return to former or less developed stage. Right, regression in psychology. Regression is a defense mechanism in which people seem to return to an earlier developmental stage. This tends to occur around periods of stress. For example, an overwhelmed child may revert to bedwetting or thumb sucking. Regression may arise from a desire to reduce anxiety and feel psychologically safe. So, regression, right? What example can I give you? We do that with toxic relationships. We do that with our children. We do that in the way that we talk to ourselves. We do that, the voices that are in our head, we regress. A simple example is, I always talk about this as an example. Oh, hi, Afrocentric. I tried to change it. Good day. Thank you so much for that suggestion. I had no idea that happened, but now, yes, it's fixed. Great. Welcome. Right. So, one example that I always talk about is seeing temper tantrums in adults. That is a part of regression. It's regressing back to whatever childhood age they were not able to communicate. They were not able to say what they want. They were not able to process their emotions. So if you see an adult, a grown man or woman, having a temper tantrum, that can be related to regression. Going back to an age when, maybe father wasn't around, mother wasn't as loving, and they always had to, be loud or act out. I was that child too. In order for me to get the attention that I needed as a child, I had to act out. I had to act up, however you call it. A rascal, a radical, the black sheep of the family. I acted like that because that was the only time that I had the attention that I needed, even though is what? Toxic attention, negative attention. Now I understand how to use that in business, right? But I didn't know that before, that it was from my own trauma. All right, let's continue. So activities that enhance your regression helps you regress by suggesting activities that will trigger childhood memories and enable you to encounter sensations of each age. In most healing sessions, they tell you to heal the inner child. Take a walk, go to the park, swing. If you have children, play with your children. What are the activities that you loved doing as a child? Go back to those activities and do them. They let you explore the world through the eyes of your younger selves. If you have a child, or if you have a child at home, a niece, a nephew, those children are a way for you to experience your younger self again. Don't get stuck in the matrix. Watch the matrix. Don't get stuck in the matrix of believing that your children or the children around you know absolutely nothing, and you need to discipline them, and you need to spank them, and you need to hit them, and all these things that society made us believe. If you have children around you, be them your own or not, they are a way for you to re-experience your childhood. I am saying this as a mother. They are a way for you to re-experience your childhood. Not by telling them what to do. You can tell them what to do, but also learning from children. The way they play, the carefree attitude. Right? The children are a definition of the book, The Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I haven't read the book, but just the topic is enough for me. Children are a definition of that. So also looking at how children don't give up. Tell them no 50 times. They will come back and ask you the same question until you say yes. So one thing that we have missed in society is understanding that we don't know more than children, kids. Sometimes kids know way more than us, but they also carry different signs for us to wake up from the autopilot and from the trauma that we have faced. Let's move on. Looking at the world from these regress states also lets you rediscover the joys that accompany each age. It is much easier to give form to your 13-year-old if you put yourself in a situation you would have experienced when you were 13. For example, struggling to be included in rather than excluded from your peer group is a major task associated with grade school child. To help you re-experience these emotions, I recommend you go alone to a social function where you don't know anybody. You may experience feelings you have never before encountered. You may have been too afraid at age 13 to enter into this kind of social situation. Imagining this scene or writing about it without actually experiencing it would not be as effective. It would not trigger the unresolved emotions from this time as intensely. This is true. I have tried it. Oh my God. I have tried it. I went to coffee shops. I went to a restaurant. One time long ago, I went to a bar alone by myself. And when I first started to do that, I felt it, right? If you're somebody who feels like you've never belonged and you don't belong, this can be a very difficult exercise to do. Many a time people tell us, oh, just go alone. Just go by yourself. It is easier said than done. Even if it's family events, even if it's neighborhood events, for me, it has always been difficult, and it is still a difficult task to do. At a restaurant is fine. I can go to a restaurant. Not long ago, well, during the winter, here, I went to a restaurant, wine restaurant, and sat down, had food, and also, had a glass of wine. And I was edited because I edit my own content, I edit my own videos. And I sat there. Now, on that day, for some reason, I felt really good. I don't know if it's because I had my iPad and I had work to do, which is very different from going to a place where you're not working. So that's a good exercise to try. I don't know about you, but for me, going to parties by myself is like a death sentence. I would rather stay home alone than go out to a party all by myself. Because I've always been made to believe that signals loneliness. And there's a difference between loneliness and aloneness. Right? So you can give it a try. I am still working on that. I am still trying. Doing this live, right? It's one of those, even though I am behind the screen, you are behind the screen that is watching and listening to me. It took me years to get myself to the point where I can come live alone, right? All these topics that I have, all these ideas I have had for about 5 years, which is 4 years after I started my spiritual journey. Until now, 2023, that I'm coming live alone. So you have to look at, if you're listening and you feel I am struggling to go live alone. Yes, girl, it took me 5 years to sit here. I know the feeling, right? If you're watching this and you feel that you just cannot do things alone, you cannot, you just can't. It feels like your anxiety is on a higher level. The idea of even eating alone, right? Because I am from a culture and a family. You see how in the West here, they make it look like us Africans that are sitting round and eating together in a bowl. That's poverty. That's not poverty, right? It's a cultural thing that we do where the family comes together and there's a big bowl and everybody eat together. Some families do it on the table. Most families eat on the floor. You put a mat down or you put a blanket down and everybody sit around the bowl and we all eat together. That can be helpful depending if the family did not teach it to the children in a traumatizing way, because it can be traumatizing as well. My experience of it was traumatizing. That doesn't mean I don't love the practice in itself. I do. Just the way that it was taught to me really traumatized me painfully. But that's also another thing. I have always loved doing everything with people around me, even though I don't know if anybody has ever felt being around people but yet still feeling alone. Being in a huge family yet still feeling alone. Yet still you are not able to do things on your own. Even though with the people you're surrounded with, you feel alone. Yet still you can go out by yourself, you can do stuff by yourself. Like Afrocentric said here, struggle to go live alone. I was all of this. Which is why in most when it comes to, I want to say, motivational videos and all these other stuff, I tend to isolate. It feels comfortable. That's it. That's the answer. I tend to isolate. It feels comfortable. Exactly. Right? Right now, let me give you an let me give you an experience Afrocentric that just sank in yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. So we have a new cleanse tea for the summer that's coming out, right? This might sound like a plug-in. It might be a plug-in, but it relates so much to what Afrocentric said. So this product just came out. Where is the bag? In working at home, right? I am in network marketing, which I love, affiliate marketing. I love that because it gives me the opportunity to build a brand, to build my business, and to be able to talk about these issues, right? Because if not for what I was doing, I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk. Now, so this flavor just dropped, right? And if you understand, I mean, any business at all, you have to call people, you have to text people, right? And yesterday, when my coach said, okay, we're doing the pre-sale, get on your phone and text people and call people to tell them that we're doing a pre-sale and it's time for them to put in their order. Afrocentric, I went in my phone, and it was the first time that I realized I have been in isolation for years and have no idea. And now that I'm doing this business, I have nobody to text, nobody to call to say, hey, would you buy, would you put in your order pre-sale? It's a challenge. I sent it to my coach. I said, oh my God, Lord help me. I have been in isolation, in solitude, and I had no idea that I have been in that. Because for me, probably for you as well, if it's feel comfortable, because for me it does. I can be at home for days in a row and not step outside. Why? Is a coping mechanism. It's a coping mechanism. It is a whole lot easier not to deal with people than to deal with people. Right? Another one of our coaches, Gareen, was online yesterday talking about this and how she puts it in her cooler and goes around. Yes, it is, right? Our coach was talking how she puts this in small bottles in her cooler and goes around her neighborhood in her car, which is different for me because I don't have a car, so that might be a little bit difficult, but I also know it's not difficult. Why? Because I live right by the field. All I need to do is get a cooler, get the bottles, put this in different bottles and go to the field and sell it. Just the idea gives me anxiety to do that, right? So it's also a coping mechanism. Going back to our childhood to understand how did it happen? Where did it come from? I knew for me as a child, running away and staying away from my uncle was the best thing. Because with him, even if I sneeze, he will beat the life out of me as a child. In the book it says 13, it is much easier to give form to your 13-year-old, right? But for me, by the time I was 13, I have gone through most of the traumas and the adverse childhood experiences except sexual abuse, which I experienced around 1920. So for me, hiding away, right, ignoring and not being able to confront, which Lisa Nichols, if you watch Lisa Nichols, if you don't, start watching and listening to Lisa Nichols. She talks about carefrontation. Carefrontation. I'm doing one of her classes. I'm just telling you about it. I'm not selling nothing for her. Lisa Nichols, her class Speak and Inspire. I'm doing that, and she talks about carefrontation. Right? I used to run away from all of these. So in order for me to not experience any of that, is a whole lot better for me to just be at home alone by myself. Let's go on. It is easier to give form to an inner child if the feelings are intense, if they are vague. The form of that inner child will be vague as well. Once you experience sensations from a particular age, you can separate from the feelings and objectify them. So, objectify your pain, make it tangible. I don't know how to explain that yet, but if anybody has an example, please share, and maybe it will trigger something. When it comes to objectifying your feelings, right? Objectifying your feelings. Where was I? But you cannot do this with feelings you have not embraced yet. You definitely do have to embrace your feelings. It is easier said than done, right? Me just talking about it here doesn't make it easy. Neither does it mean that I have embraced all my feelings and trauma and pain. Doing this is part of my healing journey. But being able to embrace your pain, your trauma, the things that you went through, the issues that you're having right now in your life, it's very important because it helps you overcome them. Now we're in a new month, August, right? Every second is a different second. Every second is something new, is something different. But when you are on autopilot or you've never healed, then it feels like there's a continuation of events. But the only continuation is your soul. So when you are able to embrace your pain, I think last week was it, I spoke about how a trigger without the emotional charge is wisdom. Sorry. A trigger without the emotional charge is wisdom. Because when we get triggered, we get emotional, which is why many of us run away from our triggers instead of embracing the things that trigger us. Because when you embrace the things that trigger you, you get to understand that it's not necessarily the trigger or the event that happened or the person who is triggering you. It's a matter of what's behind the trigger, the emotion that you feel. Where is it coming from? When in your childhood, when in your adulthood, but mostly in your childhood, did it start? And how can you go back to healing that particular child and that particular emotion? And so we hear many a time people say, embrace yourself, right? Love yourself, believe in yourself. I can sit here and tell you, oh, I embrace myself, I love myself. But then the issue is what's going deep down within my soul. When the lights are out and it's dark and there's nobody around, what are you feeling? Can you go to bed knowing that 100% you've embraced who you are? Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Nice to see you. I see the fire. I love it. Thank you. Become observer of your thoughts and feelings. Oh, become observer of your thoughts and feelings, being aware that you are a spiritual being. Natural experience. Right, definitely, right? Observer of your thoughts, which Muji says, can the observer observe the observer? Can you perceive the perceiver? Can the perceiver perceive the perceiver? Right? You're observing your thoughts, but then who is the you that is observing your thoughts? Right? I am watching my thoughts. But then who am I that is watching those thoughts? Am I aware of the person that I am watching those thoughts? Right? Because they are different. Right? They're objective. Perspective. Because they are different us. So which the book said, right? Different inner children. The inner children. Right? So even when you're observing yourself, even when you are studying yourself, you need to understand which you, I know, I hope I'm not going to woo, which is never woo, which you is studying about you, which aspect of yourself. I was telling my coach that on TikTok, I am one person. On Instagram, I am a different person. Facebook, you have a different me. When you go to my LinkedIn, you have a whole different me, right? And we all have that. So if I could give you this example, when you are meditating, when you're doing anything in your life, right? We talked about how children are a way for you to re-experience your childhood and understand yourself. Hello, Hope for Charity Ministry, welcome. Right? So you have to be able to see, if I am watching myself, is it the me that's on TikTok? Is it the me that's on Instagram that's doing the watching? Who is that you? Which helps also with understanding your inner children. How you deal with your money is different from how you deal with your relationships. It is different from the person you are at home when nobody's around, right? How you eat at home is different from how you eat in the restaurant. How you eat in a cheap restaurant is different from how you eat in a high-end restaurant. These are all different aspects of you, right? How you, for people like us who code switch. I'm not an advocate for code switching, because that is also trauma. When we are in black communities, we speak one way. When we go to white communities, we speak white. When you go to different community, you want to morph into that. Trauma. The suggestions are fairly general. The goal is to help you explore the overall experience of each stage. If in your exploration, you remember or uncover a traumatic event which these regressive activities would cause you to re-experience, I suggest you seek professional assistance and not continue the exercise unsupervised. This is true. I always say that it doesn't matter what it is, even if you don't know that you have any traumatic experience, even if you believe you have no trauma, everybody needs a therapist. Everybody needs a healer. Right? If you believe in therapy, find you a therapist. If you don't believe in therapy, but you believe in healing, Reiki healers, you believe in whatever you believe in, find you one. If you believe the church can heal you, well, find you a good church that speaks to your soul. Same goes for the mosque, right? But everybody needs help. It was like I always mention my situationship. That was how I knew that in my family there is sexual trauma. And it was right after that that I started therapy. And I was in therapy for 2 years, right? Because all the emotions going back to my childhood, it was too much. It was too overwhelming. That's another reason why I had to stop the podcast I was doing. Because the ladies were sharing their own pain as well. And I wasn't done going through my own pain. All right, so right before I started therapy as well, that's where I understood that some of the events that I went through as a child are considered sexual abuse. I didn't know. I had no idea. And what made me understand was that the people that I was surrounded with from school and psychologists and therapy and all of that, they would always talk about how most people who went through sexual abuse are blamed for their experience or are blamed for the abuse. Especially women who were sexually abused are blamed. Men, on the other hand, cannot even talk about it. Because who believes men when they talk about sexual abuse? Society doesn't. I mean, it's not even talked about. But both genders go through it, right? So I was raised in a way that everything I did was my fault. I was always the problem. And it's like a light bulb moment now because I'm wondering, I hope I don't do this to my daughter as well, making her always the problem when we are not always the problem. So there are a lot of women out there who went through these issues, sexual abuse, sexual trauma, who cannot come out and talk about it because we get blamed. You shouldn't have dressed like that. You shouldn't have talked like that. You shouldn't have acted like that. But if you are African, and you believe in your African ancestors, you know that both men and women exist in the environment without clothes, because clothes is man-made, right? They existed together, men and women, without clothes. These are man-made. But now it has become our identity, where if you are a woman and you are not wearing the fabric that we have been made to believe, it erases our value or devalue us, then you are not good enough or something is wrong with you. When if you really look at it, tell me what's natural about the clothes that we wear. When we were born, we came naked. When we die, we don't take the clothes with us. Where do we go to get the clothes we wear? From the factories, from the stores. Most of us are wearing clothes and we don't even know how it was made. Yet it has become the measure of our value, especially us as women. Tattoos, body art, it's ancient African, art way of doing. If you go on YouTube or anywhere, you could see it from the Fulani tribe. I'm from the Wolof tribe, right? My grandmother had I'm going to do that in her honor, right? I'm going to do that, and the gold teeth, because she had that. She had two. She had two gold teeth, and she had what's called nyam. Nyam is mostly what you see most African women, especially would have this black thing that goes around here. Beautiful. Some women would have it all around their gum. It also helps in gum health and preserving your teeth. But then when you have a tattoo as a woman, you're considered what? Less than. Why? Because we have bought into the matrix and live in the matrix for so long that even our cultural stuff are now considered less than. And if you do them, then you have no value. There are parts of South Africa, there are parts of Sudan, Ethiopia, you name it, who still live naked. Not that they're backwards, they just haven't bought into the madness that we live in. We consider ourselves civilized. But how happy are we with our civilization? With our clothes, with all that we believe in, even the hijab, even the hair tie that I have on. It creates vices. Yeah, it does. If you have a hijab, you're considered, oh, very pious. You have the head tie, you're considered, oh. Right? My head tie, sometimes I do the hijab. I know it throws people off completely. Especially when I add talking about Cardi B. And then they're like, oh. But the clothes are man-made. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome, Sana. Sana, where are you from? Okay, let's go on. A woman in one of my groups uncovered an event that she had completely repressed, that she had been a victim of teen date rape. For her to resolve the incident, it was important for her to regress and experience some of the helplessness and powerlessness she felt at that time. Exactly what I was trying to. You're from the Gambia. Hopefully it's not the Sana, I know. I know quite a number of Sanas. I'm from the Gambia too. Born in Banjul, then moved to Sanchaba. To do so, the group used a technique called psychodrama, which entailed our replaying that scene and assigning the roles to group members. She's probably talking about group therapy, but this is something that we can also do with just our therapist, role play. It was recommended to me by my therapist, but I didn't end up doing it simply because I was going deeper on the spiritual path. So when we had weekly sessions, so whenever we had a session, I already maybe had an awakening within that week, or I could see some changes, or maybe I was listening to an imam or a pastor or a Buddhist talk about something, and that gave me an awakening. So when I went back to the session, I was able to explain an event that happened as a child. But if these are something that you're not into, then you can role play with your therapist, or you can do it in group therapy, right? I prefer one-on-one therapy than the group therapy. But then again, like I explained, I would rather be at home and not be outside. One played the woman, another played the aggressor, another played the adult who intervened, and I directed the drama, right? This is what she's talking about. And if you're just, you were born in Badibu, but grew up in Banjul. Half die, Kent Street. Interesting. Do you know Fayen? Do you know Ibu Fay? Do you know, who else can I tell you? Ibu Fay, Tamsir Jan, Aji Fatou Jan, Yaida Jan. Anybody around that area? They were in Spalding-Cove. If you're just joining, this is the book I'm reading from. right? We are in step 3. But if you go to my YouTube, I created a playlist of the steps that we have done already. And if you're on my Instagram, if you go through my account, I saved all the lives that I have done. I'm a content creator, so I can always come back and start creating shorts and stuff like that. The woman observed as we reenacted the rape, but through the intervention, confronted the rapist and rescued the victim. Once she witnessed the scene being replayed with different ending, she was able to re-experience the feelings of the rape by playing each of the different characters in the psychodrama. The support of the other group members and professional direction provided by me gave her the assistance she needed to walk through this trauma, which is what Fire and Bobson Street, I know. Yeah, great. Welcome. That's my family. That's my family. She could not have experienced the power of her adult self had she not witnessed the other group members' intervention in the psychodrama. She probably would have felt just as powerless as she did at the time of the rape. Disengage from your pain when necessary, but do not avoid feeling it, right? This is the last paragraph before the Fire family. Yeah, the Fire family, that's the family that I am from. No wonder I came from a great family. Yes, I did. Yeah, family of healers and girls and griots and well known, right? The wonder I do what I do now. So this is the last paragraph before we go on to the exercises and activities and questions that come with the book. Disengage from your pain when necessary, but do not avoid feeling it. Right? So disengaging from your pain involves what? Involves taking time to listen to music, taking walks, exercising. If you live by the water, go to the water, right? The water is healing, the ocean is healing. If you're from a family like mine, right? They're just talking about how great my family is. My ancestors are great and powerful, right? But there's also a lot of trauma in the family. And I was raised to be scared of the ocean. And that's not something to be scared of. If we go back to who we are, the water is healing. Even when you're doing cleanses, body cleanses, most times you are advised to go get salt water. Either make salt water at home or go to a saltwater ocean and get the salt water from the ocean and use it as a way of cleansing. Love. And use it as a way of cleansing, right? So go into the ocean, listening to the waves. Because when you look at the ocean, when you're sitting down and watching the beach, watching the ocean, you are looking at something, but you're also looking at nothing. The ocean, but never learned to swim. I would have been able to swim, but like I said, my parents were afraid. The kids that I grew up with all could swim. It was only when I came to America that I ever heard about black people not being able to swim. Because African children swim, right? They love the water, spend so much time in the water. But for me, my mother and grandmother were afraid of the ocean, but all the kids that I grew up with could swim, spend all our time at the riverbanks, right? Or if you're from Gambia, there's something we call the tributary. The tributary. I am from the Caribbean. Exactly. So you know, right? We swim, right? Caribbean children too spend a lot of time as a river with the waterfalls and things like that. Right. So disengaging from your pain doesn't mean don't feel your pain. It doesn't mean don't feel your feelings. It just means that also have activities that you can do so you don't get overwhelmed. Or when you do get overwhelmed, you can just let things go. You can breathe, right? So taking walks, going to the park, walking bare feet is all very important. Being in nature, right? It's going to the Caribbean, going to Africa. It's healing. It's not healing just because you are in the motherland or just because the ancestral spirit, that's a part of it. But there's also the naturalness of things, right? You see sand, you touch sand, you can walk on sand. I always say one of the things that I miss most about the Gambia is sand. Isn't that amazing? Because I don't see sand that's not artificial or made to, even the sand or the soil, the topsoil that we use at our community garden now. You touch it and it's like this not something not real about this. Anyway, let me go move on. You cannot heal unless you are willing to experience the pain. You cannot heal unless you are willing to experience the pain left over from childhood. Regulate your pain so it is manageable, which means that you are able to function. If your inner child work if your inner child work becomes unmanageable, take a break or get the professional support you need to make it manageable. Another thing that I forgot, Florida is the place. Yeah, I have been there. It is. Another thing I forgot to note is that if you click the link on my bio, right, you can have a direct link to, it's a suicide hotline, but it's also a mental health hotline, right, that you can use if you're in distress and you need help. You can just call and ask for whatever assistance that you need. So whatever channel you're watching me from, it's in my bio on the website and you can find it there. It is not necessary to jeopardize your well-being in order to experience the pain from your childhood. And sometimes our parents will tell us, oh, you don't have to go back, you don't have to experience it. Last week, as I mentioned, suck it up and move on. Take a break from your healing, but don't suck it up. Never suck it up. Take a break and come back. It's the same as when you're working, right? When you go to work, you work maybe 5 hours, and then you take a break and you come back to work. The same thing. Do the same thing with your healing journey. You are the adult in charge of the healing you do. You have the capacity to set a pace that is gentle one. Let me read that again. You have the capacity to set a pace that is a gentle one. To do the otherwise is to be abusive to yourself, which is the destructive habits. It is not necessary. You have time. There is no hurry. Go at the pace that works for you and go to the depth that works for you. Well, I didn't know that. When I was doing my healing, I didn't know I had time. I didn't know that there is no need to hurry. I was in a hurry to get over that pain. I was in a hurry to get out of that. It can be helpful. It can also be destructive. I was somebody who never had patience. So me having the patience to say, oh, I have time. No, I was just ahead. I just went right in, dove straight up. I don't recommend that. But if you believe in yourself enough that you have the power to do that, the healing is a lot faster, right? Because you're taking action. Massive action is important. It's talked about everywhere. But you have to know that it can overwhelm you. And you also need different avenues that you can release your pain that are not destructive habits. So the exercises for that, right? I'm going to read the questions, the exercise. Which one is this? This was 2. Yeah, okay. How you treat your body. I'll just go straight to the questions, which is answer the following questions in your journal. If you don't have a journal, that is fine. A journal is important and it's very helpful as well. Right? It took me a while to understand the power of journals because I didn't grow up with anybody who used journals. And if you are wondering, oh my God, what is she drinking? Just talked about not taking drugs and she's taking capsules. I have to take this every day for my own health and well-being. If you've been here, you know that I take Blossom Me dietary supplement. This one is particularly for women. If you are a man, you can get it for your wife, but this is for women. That. The other ones I talk about, men can use it too. Right? Do you trust your body to... Okay, so the question. So interesting. I was just talking about the products that I use. The first question when it comes to step 3, regress and experience your pain. Do you trust your body to tell you what it needs? I'm going to leave it right there and you think about it. Do you trust your body to tell you what it needs? I didn't. Well, it's not because I didn't trust my body. I just didn't know what my body needed. Right? I didn't know that as a woman, I needed things for women's health. Herbal. I advocate for herbal supplements. Whatever you get, make it herbal. If you don't want to buy products, go to your grocery store, research the different herbs that you can use for your own health and well-being, and then go buy those herbs and use them as your tea. Even when you buy tea from the store, let the teas be something that will help your system. Which goes back to, do you trust your body to tell you what it needs? Are you just eating stuff because everybody's eating it? Do you just buy things because everybody is buying it? Right? Do you sit at home and watch TV and see the commercials and they're buying something and you buy it because it's on sale? And because the people on, I don't know the channels, I haven't watched TV in a long time, never really had cable. But whoever sell all this stuff, the one I can think of is QVC, but QVC, they sell jewelry, right? I don't know. The people that sell these things on the TV, do you just buy it because it's on sale and they tell you to buy it, and if you buy it, you're going to win something? Do you buy because your body needs it and because you, your soul, you need it? Or do you buy just because everybody is buying? Everybody is wearing Nike, so you have to wear Nike. Everybody is wearing Jordans, so you need to buy Jordans, because if not, people see you as poor. The matrix, that way of thinking. one of the reasons that I love what I do and communities that I am in and the products that I take is that you don't just sell it to sell it. You have to use it for yourself, feel the transformation, feel the change in your system before you can talk about it. And so I'm asking you, when you buy things, right? Eat. Wrong. I eat raw 85% of the time. Yes. Yes, especially fruits and vegetables, or growing what you eat and eating what you grow. Do you trust your body to tell you what it needs? But in order for you to be able to do that, you have to first trust yourself to know your body needs it. For a long time, I will not take any products or anything. One, I didn't trust myself, but also I didn't even know that my body needed these things. I didn't know it until, I've talked about this in different lives, so I'm just going to cut it short quickly. Having all these infections, all these diseases, all these major issues, that as a child, I'll be in the hospital every week and had no idea that I needed different herbs. I needed herbal supplements that I can use as I grew for my own body. So when you buy things, why are you buying them? Do you get things just because everybody's getting it, or because you really need it? It feeds your soul. Do you trust your body to tell you what it needs? Even the programs you watch, if you break it down in the English language, program is programming you. Do you watch the news because everybody says you watch the news and you need to know what's going on, and the first thing in the morning you need to watch the news and stuff yourself with negativity, so by the time you get to work you feel like the world is falling apart? Why do you do the things that you do? Why are you the way that you are? Some of us, we have so much pain. Some of us in our families, mine included, there is stroke. My cousin's father died from stroke. As a child, I thought all of these were normal until I became a health addict and then became just so in love with psychology and understanding myself that I realized these are not normal. Diabetes is not normal, right? People talk about diabetes in the black family in America, in the African American society, but it's the same issue on the African continent. The people I'm talking about, some of them never even came to America, right? But we just do things that everybody is doing. If you are experiencing pains in your body right now as you're listening to me, why do you have all that pain? Disease, dis-ease, right? Dis-ease. Your body is not at ease. Your soul is not at ease. All the pain that you have, your body is not made for that. There's Queen Afua. There's Louise Hay. These are ladies who give you ways of healing yourself. They are more on the spiritual side than the intellectual side. But if you are experiencing so much pain, or you're surrounded by people who experience so much pain, you are not listening to your body. Because if you really listen to your body and you understand what your body needs, I'm not saying you will not experience any pain at all, but you might not be experiencing as much pain as you experience right now. I know because I've experienced most of those pain, even though I'm still young. Inflammation of the legs, sitting down and getting up to walk, and it feels in the blood in my veins and just my legs, it feels like it's on fire. And no, I have never been, some people will say, oh, I have never been fat, I've never gained weight beyond size 10. But I experience all that. It's also part of a generational curse. Because in my family, there was a grandmother who had her leg amputated. Why? Diabetes. One of my neighbors, Afrocentric, you said you're from the Caribbean. One of my neighbors, he's from the Caribbean. He has diabetes, right? But he cannot lay off the booze, the vodka. I love him greatly. And so he had to change the kind of vodka he drinks to a vodka that works for diabetes. Why not stop the drinking altogether? The next question is, do you respond to those needs when you know what they are? Let me read that again. Do you respond to the needs of your body when you know what they are? Maybe your body is, your soul is telling you that. Maybe even the religion you are in, there's something missing. By the way, I talk about religion. I'm comfortable talking about religion because I'm not trying to trigger anybody. I just share what I have learned. Right? I was born and raised in a Muslim family. My name is Mariama from the Quran, and I love my name. It's also Maryam, is Mary in the Bible, right? So I've gone to the point of getting into different religious communities to understand what's going on there, from Christianity to Buddhism, back to African spirituality, to Islam, to Hinduism, right? I love Kalima, the dark goddess. She is a Hindu goddess. So maybe your soul is telling you you need to experience something else, but are you listening? Maybe because your pastor told you Jesus is the only way. Maybe your imam told you Allah is the only way. We get told these things. And even though our intuition is telling us there's more, we cannot listen to that. If you are in the States or in European countries and you're watching me, I say that because I target my audience mostly, to the diaspora as well as the continent. But I also saw that in Ghana, KFC is in Ghana. Us Africans, we love European stuff so much. We don't even need KFC in Ghana. Why? But maybe your body's telling you the junk food you're eating, you don't need to eat it. But you eat it. Why? Because it's cheap. Why? Because we're in a civilized world. And you don't have to be a peasant growing your own food. Because Africans who are in agriculture and they grow their own food and they live in the village, they are poor and we look down upon them. Because that's how the media portrays the people who look like us, right? So you think that in order for you to feel luxury and powerful and all of that, you need to eat out every single time. Not knowing that even most of the very wealthy people Even when they eat out, they eat very healthy. I learned this from the campus that I am in the real world, with Andrew Tate, because he tells us these things and would show us images, right? And he would say what? What people don't know is that the rich eat very good food, right? They're not out there just going to eat out. But for us that are poor, and poverty is a mindset, is a mentality. Poverty is not having money. Poverty is here, which is why Africans are not poor. And us that are in the West, we're sometimes even much more poor than people in Africa. So if your body is telling you what it needs, are you listening? Hey, hi, nice to see you. Eating healthy and being healthy is two different. Yes, thank you for that. That's funny that there are people here fighting to grow their own food. I am one of those people, right? Really wanting to garden and loving to garden. And coming to the realization that, oh my God, there are so many rules in to just grow your own food. And eating healthy and being healthy are two different things, right? Being healthy is a lifestyle. Like you have that lifestyle of being healthy. You are not eating healthy. You're not eating healthy. Because eating healthy, you can eat healthy today and don't eat healthy again for another 5 years. That doesn't make you healthy. So the things that I talk about is on a lifestyle basis. People ask me, do you have a diet? And I tell them I don't have a diet. Because if I create a diet, I will not go by it. So instead, my lifestyle, my overall lifestyle is centered on being healthy. From the stuff I put on my skin, from the supplements I use, from the places I go, from the people I surround myself with now, that I know what I know, is all part of being healthy, right? Because being healthy is not just the food you eat, it's the stuff you put in your mind, the things that you listen to, the skincare you use, the food that you eat, the religious stuff or spiritual stuff you listen to. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of being, right? It's not a trend. Nothing I talk about is in terms of trend or being trendy. It's adapting a lifestyle, mental, physical, spiritual, relationships, financial. Do you also have a healthy financial output, healthy financial lifestyle? I didn't. I still don't. I'm learning. I'm learning. I came from a business family, but unfortunately, I don't know, for some reason, my mother just never taught me, even though she was like a powerful businesswoman. May the Almighty God continue to bless you. Thank you so much. I received that greatly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right? So I talk about a lifestyle, how you see yourself, how you see people, how you think about yourself. It's a lifestyle, and it's what Carl said, being healthy. So we are not just eating or talking about health. is changing our entire lifestyle centered around being healthy. The third question, how do you know when you are hungry? This is a great question. Do you eat when you are hungry? Do you eat when you are not hungry? I talked about stress eating. All right? Have you ever felt, and this question is so in line, right, with the business that I am in and the products that I sell and the products that you just saw me take. How do you know when you are hungry? Do you eat when you are hungry? Do you eat when you are not hungry? Question. Do you eat the 3 daily meals because society said that's how you have to eat? Do you go breakfast, lunch, dinner? Because that's how you were raised, your mom and your dad, and everybody says that's the way you need to eat. If you were not here last week, I showed this book which talks about the history of the American meal. Where do I have it? I don't see it, but I'll find it. Which talks about the history of the American meal, right? No, in terms of you don't eat like that. I would love to know how you eat Afrocentric, right? Because there's a history to it. Oh my God, I should find the book. It's called 3 Square. Yeah, 3 Square. Where back from slavery and all of that, that is how the fork and the knife that we consider to be luxury, that's where it came from, right? Eating breakfast, lunch, dinner. This book will tell you everything you need to know about it. I had no idea that's the case until I did it in school, different subjects under psychology. So I had to, if you go to college, there's something called electives. And for me, I wasn't just choosing any subject. So I decided to take a history, health subject. And then we were told about this book, 3 Square. And it's called The Invention of the American Meal. Some of us still eat these things, how these were invented. But then also in this book, you get to learn where all these ideas came from. I just mentioned not long ago, it's getting dark, it's about to rain. I just mentioned how in African societies, right, you have a bowl, a big bowl, and then the whole family sit around. Most families, if it's a big family, you have the men in one side, and then you have the women in one side. It's divided. If it's a really huge extended family, you have the men, you have the women, and you have the kids. Sometimes if it's a big compound, we call it compound, which here can be a house or whatever else. If it's a huge one, people would sit outside in the front yard, because African countries, African homes have front yards, big front yards and backyards, is a normal thing. But then when you watch the news and then you watch everything in the West, that's what's considered poor. And then people tell you, donate $1 to help an African family or an African child. Now, I'm not saying that there are no African societies that need that. On my accounts, I have orphanages that follow me and I follow them. which is not by coincidence, because it has always been my intention to work with orphanages. So, but the same issue is in America, is in England, in Italy, all the places that we consider civilized. But the fork and the knife was invented. The 3 meals were invented, which is called 3 squares. And it's by Abigail Carroll. And it explains everything if you get this book and you read it. So do you eat? How do you know that you are hungry? Is it mental? Do you feel it here? Or do you feel it in your tummy? Because have you ever experienced where you feel full, but here you still want to eat more? Ginger tea, no sweetener, to break night fast. Fruits, vegetables in the afternoon. I cook meal a day. Yeah. I actually do that, Afrocentric. The ginger tea, I do that. I eat 1 meal a day. I've done that for a long time. But I have been traumatized with that too, right? Because as a child, I wasn't... the most of the things I talk about, I felt as a child. So as a child, I still wouldn't eat the 3 daily meals. It just didn't make sense, right? I didn't want to cook them either. I love cooking. I can cook. Yeah. Right? But the idea that we had of cooking in the morning, cooking in the afternoon, and cooking at night, and it has to be fresh food, right? My family was like that. You know, they used to drive me crazy. And I would always say, it's time for lunch, but I am not hungry. Why do I have to eat? So I have gone back to eating once a day, right? Which is why I said this products is in line with what I do and the products that I use as well. Because apart from the women's health, another one that I take every day is the NutriBurst, which is a dietary supplement. 1 tablespoon equals to 10 bowls of salad. It helps as well because I eat once a day. And when I make my salad, I love like huge bowls of salad with everything that I like, right? I don't like eating the salad like everybody else. It's a matter of what are the things that I enjoy in a salad, and I put it together. Sometimes that 1 bowl of salad, I can eat it all day. I can start in the morning, and by the time I finish it, maybe it's at night. It's a big bowl. It's delicious. It has everything that I like. Whenever I feel hungry or I want to snack, I snack on the salad that I made or on the food that I make. It doesn't mean that don't eat out. It doesn't mean don't have a cheat sheet, right? It doesn't mean if you like chips, never eat chips. Or the idea that, oh, chocolate is bad for you. Dark chocolate is good for you. Everything is portion control. How do you eat? How do you know you are hungry? Do you eat when you are hungry? Do you eat when you are not hungry? Eating when you are not hungry is part of what? Stress eating. I used to do that. You just eat to feel good. Some of us still do that. We eat just to feel good. Because is it dopamine? What is it? Like when you eat, it does something. Hello, Khadija. It does something in your body. So stress eating, or if you're going through a lot of pain or you have a lot of trauma, you can just sit down there and eat, right? Ice cream. If you watch movies a lot, you see them do what? when they are crying, when the women are crying and they're going through issues and they have problems, you see them sitting in front of the TV and they're eating their ice cream. And some of us, myself included, that our family and our parents have never told us that the movies are not real. Hello, the things that we see in the movies are not true. We believe these things. And then we do them, thinking it's the normal way to do things. Retail therapy. I do the same. Exactly, Khadija, right? Because we watch it in the movies. That is the matrix. Those are programs meant to program us, to change the way we think, to change our natural habitat and who we are meant to be, right? If you go back to history and you see from the Native American, from the Africans and all of that, the way that they used to eat back then and how they were back then. If you go back to that, you get healthier. It doesn't make you uncivilized. I have to remember that a lot of the things that we see now as civilization, as high value, is part of the things that is adding to our trauma and our pain. But everybody's doing it. The rat race. The rat race is not just, when you come to New York and you go to Fifth Avenue, you go to Times Square, you go to Wall Street, right, in the morning, or the Penn Station on 34th Street, in the morning or after work. That's the picture of the rat race. That's what you see in the Matrix movie. Because people from work in their suits, everybody looking alike, they're running to cross the street, running to the Penn Station, the train station, going to wherever, upstate New York, New Jersey, right? People in their suits just hurrying. Everybody's going the same direction, looking Next question. Exactly what we talk about. The fourth question is, do you eat when you are upset? Do you eat when you are upset? Maybe you have a heartbreak. Be you a man or a woman? Maybe your husband is cheating or your wife is cheating. Maybe you have no money at home. Maybe you don't have a family like how I used to feel, right? You have a family, but it feels like you don't have a family. If you don't know what that means, then maybe you don't have it, or you don't have. I live in New York and work in NJ, so you know what I'm saying. In New Jersey, so you know what I'm saying, right? So do you eat when you are upset? Why do you eat every day? Have you ever thought about that? Do you eat because you are at work and it's break time? And when it's break time, you have to eat. Right? And that's basically the rat race. I'm not picking on you. Madison Square Garden, exactly. That's the other word I was trying to say. The Madison Square Garden, where people are passing. Right? Why do you eat? Why do you eat? Which is why when I come on here, I say, I use these products. But even if you don't want to buy from me, because what do I advocate for? I don't advocate for people to do what everybody is doing, right? I give you suggestions. These are the things that helped me. If you need alternatives, you can use these things as well. But you can always also research these things. Even when I talk to my clients, I don't tell them, oh, you need to buy it, you need it, it's good for you. No, I ask them first, what is it you want to work on in your life? Are you looking to lose weight? Are you looking to work on your energy? Right? Do you drink coffee? Because we have a coffee supplement as well. But also, where do you get the water you boil your coffee with? Do you put any herbs in the coffee, in the water of the coffee? Afrocentric mentioned ginger tea. I put ginger and lemon in the water that I use to drink my coffee. So, do you eat when you are upset? Are you eating McDonald's? Because for those who are from Africa or other parts of the world and now they move to America or to Europe, wherever, are you eating McDonald's because now you are American? If you are American born and you're watching me, do you eat McDonald's just because your family have always ate it? And you are just continuing that tradition? What Bob Marley said, what is it called? The redemption song, right? Why am I forgetting it? The mental slavery thing. None but ourselves can free our mind. None but ourselves can free our mind. Right? What is the part that I'm looking for? Anybody know? Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. That goes in every aspect of life. Right? Even how you eat. Because food can make you a slave. We just had that lesson in the real world where they were telling us that food can also control your life. Stress eating is a very bad habit. And not bad in the societal sense, but bad for your overall mindset and well-being. My sister stress eats. So I know what I'm saying. Number 5, do you try to push your body beyond its limits with stimulants, such as coffee or sugar? Do you try to push your body beyond its limits with stimulants such as coffee or sugar? Right? Stress eating. Khadija. Yeah. It said the redemption tongue tied. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. That goes in every aspect of life, right? But this section here, stimulants like coffee and sugar. If you are in the corporate world, you probably heard about the saying that, all these quotes about coffee. And what I'm saying is coming from a coffee lover. Like, I drink coffee every day. I love coffee, so I can talk about this. I was a barista. A barista is somebody who makes and sells coffee. I want a coffee shop. So I know what I'm saying, right? I already sell the coffee. So I already sell the coffee. So I eventually want to have my own coffee shop. Right? So what I'm saying now is not against coffee drinkers or people who love coffee. When you hear people saying, without coffee, you cannot function, or you need coffee to wake you up, or coffee to give you the energy that you need, something is wrong in your life. Right? What are the coffee quotes? Like every morning, you need a coffee dose. I can't remember all the quotes because that's not why I drink coffee. Or even sometimes you say that the quotes or the people would say that if they have a bad morning or they have a bad day, is because they haven't had their cup of coffee yet. Even joking about that, there's a pain associated with it. And I'm telling you, this is from somebody who drinks coffee every day. And when I tell people I drink coffee because I actually love coffee, right? I'm not drinking it because of the trend. Or you should drink coffee, or you should go to Starbucks, or you should do it. No, I actually love coffee. I had a coffee book to study coffee. I like the smell of coffee. I loved coffee beans, right? Even the way I make my coffee, I don't have a coffee machine. I do the coffee drip. Yes, I need my coffee early. It's an idea. I need my coffee early. Without the coffee, I cannot function. Coffee is ruling your life, right? Because you should be able to generate your own energy without the coffee. So, do you try to push your body beyond its limits with stimulants such as coffee or sugar? Coffee gets you, well, sugar as well. Sweet coffee, sweet tea. I recently learned coffee can pull minerals like magnesium out of the body. Don't know if it's true. I'm not sure. I haven't heard about that, but yeah, it's good to look up, right? It's good to look up. But I also believe that everything in moderation is important. There's nothing good if you overdo it. There is nothing good if you overdo it. There are even some healthy foods that if you eat too much of it, it can do something to your body. But I can. You can go, do you mean you can go without it some days? All I'm saying is that don't let anything rule your life. Be able to function without anything at all. Right? Whatever you use, let it just be an addition that's just going to help you. That's just going to help you get to where you need to be. Don't depend on it as something that you need so much so that without it you cannot function, which is what the book is saying, right? Do you use that? Some people, just to be able to end their day well, just to be able to get the energy that they need, to be able to do the work that they have to do, moderation is key, right? Some people, just to get to that point in their day, they have to drink 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups, 5 cups of coffee, right? Plus all the sugar and stuff. Which is why I use the one that I just showed you, the coffee that I drink, which I have it on my bio as well. Because this is the first time I don't know where I put it. I have tried a coffee, right, that doesn't make me crash in the middle of the day. There was a time, remember I mentioned working for H&M as a visual merchandiser, and then overworking myself, being a workaholic because I was running away from my pain. That's where I heard all of these terms of coffee this, coffee that. And I joined it, following the crowd. And we would drink 2 to 3 cups of coffee in the morning. If we have to do, say we have to do our like a merchandising project. So we have to change the mannequins in the windows. We usually would change the mannequins in the, sometimes we go in at 11 p.m., which is the overnight shift. That means that we have to change the entire setup of the store. Or sometimes we get there at 4 a.m. if we only have to change the windows. And regardless of the shift, it's 2 cups, 3 cups. In the break rooms, there are coffee machines there. And these are used as stimulants to get the body to go beyond its limits. But you can be able to find the limits of your body without these stimulants, right? Without the stimulants, without the coffee, without all of that. If you drink coffee, if you use coffee, if you are buying coffee from me in my bio, do not use it as a drug. Let it be something that's part of your self-care, that's part of loving yourself. Everything you eat, everything you do has to be something that feeds your soul and not break your soul down. I don't know if you have ever heard these things from a business person, right? I am selling the coffee. I should tell you, buy it, drink coffee. You need coffee every day to get you going, to get you the energy, to blah, 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 blah. But I be lying to you because I don't do that. Right? That's not why I sell coffee. That's not why I drink coffee. That's not why I want to study coffee. And that's not why I want a coffee shop. I want my customers and the people who listen to me to be healthy, right? The products that they get from me or the wisdom and the knowledge that they get from me helps them be better and not use it as a drug to overwork yourself, to numb your pain. Because most of the time the marketings and the advertisements that we hear, if you really pay attention, that is what they are doing. It's not necessarily about your health and well-being. It's just for you to buy. Sugar is the same thing. All these things I'm telling you, I have done. Sugar is the same thing. Why is that? Most of the drinks are sugary. Why is that? Soda is all sugar. It gives you a boost. It's a stimulant, right? Why is it that the most sold drinks all are sugary? When you go to the coffee stores to get coffee, right? Unless it's like these local coffee stores or mom and pop's coffee stores, or how it's called hole-in-the-wall coffee stores where there's not much going. But most of these cappuccinos and Tony Robbins, who call them mocha latte or mocha something, I love them. But most of the time, most of the places we get them from, they are sugary. They carry a lot of sugar because it will do something to your system. You will want more, right? Sugar does something to your taste buds. Research it. Look it up. So again, if you watch it and you buy anything from me, never use it as a drug. Never use it as something that, you know, your body is not working and you need it to help you walk. No. Be ready to take charge of your life and then get the products to help you as a combination, right? Even the herbs that you buy from the store, let it be that you're ready to take charge of your life. So you get ginger and you get lemon and you get cloves and you get star anise to help you in the journey. And don't depend on all these stuff to get you to where you want to go. Because the moment, if you feel that, if you're watching me and you feel that you are using something, whatever it is, even if it's rice, and you depend on it, without it, you cannot function. That's the definition of being an addict. I might be a little bit addicted to coffee. I think my love for coffee is very deep. Number 6, do you go for the burn when you exercise? Why? Ask your body how it feels about that. Do you go for the burn? I really love everything coffee. You know, I could just sit and hold it and just... I used to buy espresso. I don't have my small cup. I'll use this. I used to buy espresso at the store. There was a very beautiful Swedish store, but it closed, and they have these natural coffee. But I used to do it in Gambia too. I'll buy the coffee and just sit and go. Smell it until it gets cold before I drink it. Just keep smelling the beans and the espresso. Like, oh, this smells so good. But do you go for the burn when you exercise, right? I was explaining about this, about how when I was in pain, depressed and anxiety and all of these issues, I wouldn't eat much. So I'll be losing weight and people would think, oh, look at you, model body. But then I will walk out painfully. Do you go for the burn? Right? Do you go to the extreme? Of course, there's setting your mind up to understand that your body can go to great lengths, but everything is in a healthy way. Right? Obviously, if you go to the gym, if you're lifting weights, if I remember it correctly, you do have to break down the muscles. The muscles have to break down, right? There are aspects of working out, fitness. There are aspects of that. But are you doing these things like I was doing it? I was doing all of these things based on the trauma and the pain that I was going through to basically numb it. Right? So if you're doing it for the health of your body, for a beauty of yourself, because you want to do it, because you feel good about it. Because I remember there was a time that when I went to the gym, it was more because I just loved being in the gym. I can spend hours in the gym, right? And it had nothing to do with anything. But at some point, with everything I was going through, it became an addiction of just working myself to death, to draining myself, to a mental breakdown, to a physical, emotional breakdown. These are all part of the pain that you feel. So do you go for the burn? When you walk out, are you going for the burn because it just feels so good? Or are you doing it because you're running away from something? Because there's always a reason why we do what we do. You're not just watching me because I am a beautiful African woman, and I am. There's a reason why you watch, you listen. So always ask yourself that. The things that you do, why do you do the things that you do? Ask your body how it feels about it. Whatever you do, whatever you eat in your life, whatever it is, ask yourself why Is it in alignment with your body? Is it in alignment with your soul? Right? I knew this that I'm doing here is in alignment with my soul, because for years I could not get it out of my head. And I am telling you, I have ran away from doing this a lot. I should have been doing this 5 years ago. But what made me understand it's in alignment with my soul, with my body, I feel good doing this. 5 years, I could not get this out of my head. Up until now, I'm sitting here doing it. So why do you do what you do? Number 7, do you get enough rest? Do you get enough rest? In one of the campuses that I am in, which is the digital campus, the real world, it was called Hustlers University. So we create our own content. Well, I am going for the influential speaking, so I create my own content. But others create content for different companies, some of the well-known companies that you people know, right? And our professors, when I tell you they can work, these people can work every hour of their day. Some of them are still in the military. Like one of the professors that's teaching us time management is in the US military right now. So he's bringing what he learned inside our campus, the real world. If you don't believe me, you can find the link in my bio. But they always tell us, when some of the students come in and say, I'm going to work, I don't need the rest, I want to get rich, be a millionaire. The first thing the professors say is that do not mess up your sleep no matter what happens. They would always say, we are teaching you, but we sleep 8 hours a day. When our body wants to sleep, we sleep, right? You can understand, and they even teach how it's important to understand when you are so used to being in autopilot, your mind is playing tricks on you. So you think you need to rest, but you don't need to rest. You think you're burning out. You're having a burnout, but you're not having a burnout. It could just be from learned helplessness, from constantly being lazy, from enjoying just sitting on the couch and just being eating and watching the housewives and whoever. I don't know the shows on TV, but just watching television, right? When you're used to that, your mind can play tricks on you. But at the same time, being able to understand the power of resting and how you can rest and rejuvenate your body. And I have to bring back using herbs as well. Taking baths. That doesn't mean you need a bathtub. Right? You can boil herbs that are good for your body, that are good for your skin. Even if you don't have a bathtub, you might have a container, a bucket, a big bowl. Put it in it. Take it to your shower. Right? Feel the warmth. Or if you like it cold, feel the cold. Something that rejuvenates you. Rest. Be hardworking, but don't sacrifice your rest. Because sacrificing your rest is a part of sacrificing your soul. It's part of what I was explaining, that I would work 12 hours straight. I'm not kidding. I used to do this. 12 hours straight until the managers and my supervisors would tell me to stop. Because I didn't want to think. I didn't want to feel my body. I did not want to feel myself. I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to rest. I didn't want to hear the voices in my head. Right? And so me not resting and just constantly being on the go. I don't have to think. And most of us do what we do because we don't want to think. That's why the phrase escape the matrix or resist the slave mind is very important when you really look at why we do the things that we do every single day. Number 8, what activities do you do that are nurturing your body? What activities do you do that are nurturing your body? Better yet, growing up as a child, have you ever seen anybody, be it man or woman, nurture themselves, take care of themselves, love themselves, do self-care? Have you ever seen that? I think that's the better question, right? Because I never seen that. Growing up, I have never seen that. Never seen a woman get into her feminine. Never seen a woman heal herself. It's part of the generational curses. My grandmother did a little bit, but I wasn't taught that that's a necessary ritual, because it was talked about as in, oh, she is old, so we have to take care of her. There are some rituals that I still do that I learned from her. I guess because she was older and learned that she never did that, you know. But also, I was the youngest and I was her first grandchild. So if she needed anybody to put, what is it called, shea butter, like the original shea butter on her, or maybe sometimes boil oil on a spoon, either on the candle or on the stove, heat up the oil, and then use it on her skin to smooth her skin, or even whatever pain, leg pain, backache that she's having, she would use that. She would always tell me, these are good things for you to do for yourself. So up until this day, I do not use anything except shea butter and herbal oils. I'm actually about to work with a brand, woman-owned brand, right, that is doing shea butter and herbal oils as well. But one thing I learned in my journey is that if you have never seen a man or a woman take care of themselves emotionally, spiritually, mentally, financially, then you've probably picked up that. And some of the pains that you're feeling right now is not necessarily yours. It's somebody else's in your environment. But because that's the way that you were raised, you have just continued doing the same things without knowing. Like I said last week, unconditional healing, yeah, that's a YouTube channel. And this lady, during my healing journey, I heard her say, when she was healing herself, at some point she realized that all the pain that she was feeling at that time, it's not her pain. It came from the line of women in her family who have never healed. I have never seen a woman do anything that nurture themselves. Everything that I spoke about in terms of burnout, that's how I knew my mother to act. When my auntie came from Germany and came back to the Gambia, and she was living in our home, I began to see her do certain things. But by the time she was already in her 50s, right? This is what I'm saying. Even I didn't see my grandmother do these things until she was, what, 80, 70, 80. 90, or she died early 90s, in her early 90s, 93. So I even always say that some of us women, we think, right? It's an idea. We think we are masculine because society keep telling us that we are masculine. Just recently, there was this blow up on social media, on Twitter, because people have realized that if you go online and talk about how nobody likes the black woman because the black woman is masculine, you can go viral. And so this guy did that. And I called the ancestors on him. I'm like, you are never going to prosper. But these are things that society tells us, right? Even the idea of the strong black woman. Why do we have to be strong? Why are there no strong Latina woman, strong white woman, strong Asian woman? Why do we need a strong black woman? Why can't we have the black man be the strong one? But we are, right? That's part of the generational trauma. If as a woman nobody has ever bought you flowers, your parents never buy flowers, or maybe they grew flowers like my family, right? We would grow flowers, but just out in the yard. It was never seen as self-care, self-love. Get the flowers, bring it inside, get a bouquet, decorate. Our entire house was surrounded by flowers. In the Gambia, in West Africa, we had a huge home. But it was never talked about in terms of nurturing ourselves when it came to us as women. Right? The food that we eat, is it nurturing to us? Do you eat to nurture yourself, or do you eat just to eat? Because you just need something in your body. You need something in your stomach, right? Or you're working and you need to run and just stuff something in before the shift start again. Are you nurturing yourself? What do you do to nurture yourself? Do you feel like, I didn't realize this until I came to America, right? Do you think that walking bare feet outside is a primitive peasant thing and now you're civilized? Or maybe you're not from Africa or any parts of the world, you're American. Do you believe that walking outside bare feet is poverty? Or something is wrong with them, mental illness? But walking bare feet can be a part of nurturing yourself because you're connecting with the earth again. Why is it called Mother Nature? Mother Earth. Africa, motherland. Think about it. What activities do you do that are nurturing to your body? It's grounding, right? Even meditating on the sand itself is very grounding. It brings you back to earth. When we die, where are we going? Some men will not. Walking barefoot is medicinal. It's so medicinal, Lady Love. I like that name, Lady Love. It's so medicinal because the moment you step, even in the concrete jungle, New York is the concrete jungle. Everywhere is concrete. But then I went to places in the south and there's no pathway to walk. And I'm like, how can these people just drive? I'm telling you, I didn't know culture shock is a thing. But when I realized my culture shock, I was like, oh, this makes sense because I didn't understand all of these. Right? Because when you take your shoes off and you walk just bare feet, the moment the soles of your feet lands on the sand or even the concrete, If you're aware and you are being aware of how your body feels, it can change your physiology, even how you feel and how you step and how you walk. Do you realize? I don't know if it happens to anybody, but for me it does. I keep looking here thinking, forgetting that the Facebook camera is here. For me, right, how I feel it. When I put on shoes, I can go fast, 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 fast. But when I'm bare feet, I take more time. I walk slower. I'm more intentional walking on the ground. I feel every step that I take, bare feet, because I can feel the ground. You can feel the vibration. Right? It's nurturing. It's part of your health and wellness journey. Walking bare feet, right? Sitting outside under the sun. Even if that's how I charge that's how I charge my battery. Yeah, it's charging your battery. Rejuvenate yourself. Oh, I was going to mention candles. Candles. You know, these are things that we do in Africa, but it's considered poor. Right? Electricity is great and wonderful, but why do we always or only have to light candles? Because we want a romantic atmosphere. Why can't we light candles as part of our nurturing and health and wellness journey, where you can set your whole house as a healing sanctuary? Yeah, that's what I want to say. You can light your candles, you can light your incense, whatever type of candle. It can be candles that are scented, it can be candles that are not scented, right? You can light these at home. I grew up doing that in Africa, but even there in my family, it was talked about as in, oh, we need electricity, oh, poverty, even though we were not poor. But then, if you want to set up something romantic, you want to set up something feel good, what do? You get candles. So my question is, why can't be part of our lifestyle and our everyday living, and just what we talked about earlier on, being healthy is a lifestyle to nurture us. I still cannot understand, and I know people who are like very religious, especially Muslims, will have all their explanations as to why women cannot do nail polish. It's just another aspect of nurturing ourselves, right? The things that we don't like about nail polish, or it's not clean, or whatever, but clothes are man-made. The same way nail polish is man-made. Ever thought about that? Somebody made the clothes that we wear. Somebody somewhere made clothes and panties. And all these things that we use, right? Afrocentric here on TikTok mentioned how, clothes can divide us. Depending on how you dress, you are seen a certain way. But religiously, you're seen as pious, as there's another one in the Bible, the something 39, Proverbs 31 woman, is it? And all of these things, right? But if you have nail polish on, you cannot pray. But maybe the nail polish is from the same factory that makes the clothes. Do we know? We don't know. Number 9, do you like your body? Do you affirm and praise your body? Do you like your body? Do you like yourself? Do you like who you are? Allah will forgive us, but what is Allah forgiving us of? That's the thing. Allah is God. Allah made us. So we are a part of Allah, right? Part of God. What exactly is Allah forgiving us of? That's the thing. For me, I've always had this question even as a child. Sometimes we're told that everything is sin. So many things that we do is a sin, both in so many religions, right? And this is not just a Muslim issue, it's in Christianity. Like I said, I have had to go to different routes to understand things. But aren't we already perfect the way that we are? Is Allah going to forgive us for wearing clothes? These. Because we were not born with these. The first blanket we had is from where? Either the hospital, or if you gave birth at home, I gave birth at home, from the midwife, which is an old African practice. But even we are running away from it because you need to go to the hospital. What exactly is Allah forgiving us of? Now, if you stray off of the path, and maybe your pain and your hurt, mosque hurt, because that's the thing, church hurt, have made you turn away from God or Allah, right? And you've strayed completely to the point that you've lost yourself due to your trauma or whatever pain. Right now, you can tell me Allah will forgive you, because of course Allah will forgive you in that sense. God will forgive you in that sense. Born again, coming back to life, resurrection, whatever you want to call it. Right? You're being whole again. Why? Because now you are ingesting the words of Allah, the Quran. You are ingesting the words of God, maybe from the Bible, right? But also understanding that there are some things in these books that were used to enslave our ancestors. So being able to see what you are reading too is understand. It's important to understand it, right? But why though? The hijab, the thing we use for the hijab, when we came out of our mother's womb, we didn't come with that. We came natural, perfect, naked. So my question is, if Allah is going to forgive us, right? And I'm not saying that just because of what you said, because my parents used to tell me the same thing. So I ran away from Islam for a long time, right? If having nail polish as a Muslim woman, you are not clean, you cannot pray, and Allah is going to forgive us. The question is, will Allah also forgive us for the clothes? No matter how pious and decent and whatever it is, are we going to get forgiven for that? Because that also is man-made and from the factories. We were not born with them. And when we die, we're not going with them. When I don't know about here, I know in some families in Christianity, some people you wear the suit and whatever. in most Islamic communities or even African communities, you get wrapped in a white cloth, right? If you go to Buddhist and Hinduism, they cremate. Muji Baba used to say, if you don't know Muji Baba, look him up, right? Muji Baba used to say that everything is just a perspective, it's just an idea. Because if one way was the right way, everybody will do it. But everything is just an idea that we have, and we think that is the only way and that is the correct way. If there is a right way of dying, everybody will be buried or will die that way. But there is not. It doesn't make the one that we have the right way. It just makes it another way. So do you like your body? Do you like yourself? Do you like who you are? Do you affirm and praise your body? In the community that I am in, if you were here when I first started, I talked about Girl Hold My Hand, right? And it's a community of men and women who are breaking generational curses. These are basically some of the issues that we talk about. You can read about it in my bio. And we have meditation from Monday to Friday. Is it Monday to Thursday? We do meditation sessions. We just did it today. And during the meditation sessions, we always talk about what? Hug your body. Love your body. Kiss your body. Kiss yourself. Love yourself. Lisa Nichols, if you don't know Lisa Nichols, find her. Lisa Nichols will always say, that's an interesting name, Kickbutt. I like that, Kickbutt. Lisa Nichols would always say that you liking me is a bonus, right? Going on social media and people liking my post is a bonus. Like right now, I see 10.3K likes on this live. So Lisa would always say, that's a bonus. I have to first like myself. I have to first like who I am inside my own home before anybody else likes me. Because everybody else's likes is just a bonus. Now, I didn't know this. And if you are somebody who finds it very difficult when people don't like you, and that's the last question there. Let me see. Okay, yeah, that's the last question there. I what was I saying? I can't remember anymore now. Liking yourself, liking your body. Yeah. See, I didn't know all of this, right? I had no idea about me liking myself and liking my body. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted everybody to love me, right? If somebody criticizes me, it can kill me, my soul, right? Because you can be alive, but you are dead. So basically, everything we talked about boils down to just one thing: liking yourself, liking your body, having affirmations for yourself every day that you read about yourself. And it doesn't matter what religion it is and what you believe in. You can have these, right? Because for me, knowing how powerful Maryam from the Quran was, did something for me, right? But also there's Mary Magdalene from the Bible. And Mary Magdalene gets put down a lot, but it's still part of femininity right? So liking yourself is is the root of everything. But if you were raised from a traumatic family or in a traumatizing way, where you have to seek validation, you're looking for your parents' love, you're looking for your parents' acceptance. Maybe they never even told you that they love you. Maybe you're like me, right? I always say that as a child, I always thought I was adopted because of the pain and the way that I was raised. So I would always think that at any point, my real parents are going to show up and pick me up, right? Oh, that's okay, Khadija. As long as you can listen, that's fine. So loving yourself and loving your body, loving how you look, loving who you are, it's basically the basis of your healing journey, of a healing, of anybody's healing journey, right? Not loving ourselves is what makes us do most of the things that we do. Wanting validation, looking for love in all the wrong places. I did all of these things, right? Thinking that if somebody doesn't like you, if somebody criticizes you, if somebody says something about you, then something is wrong with you. If you come from a traumatizing family, this is how you would feel. You would feel that it doesn't matter what you do, you can never do anything right. That something is always wrong with you. Right? I'm exhausted now, so I'm going to close. I need to go eat some food. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten all day. So the basis of next tomorrow we'll be talking about step 4. I think if I remember correctly, there are 6 steps. Maybe after the book I'll figure out what to do with the lives. It might be once a week or twice a week, I don't know. But me doing it every day was a part of me holding myself accountable and being consistent. And if you have issues with commitment, being consistent, loving yourself, understanding yourself, thinking for yourself, being able to break things down, you are still in the matrix. You're still following some script, some idea. The mastery of love, that's what is it called? That's also from the author of 4 Agreement. I haven't read it yet, but I've seen it. That would be a good one to read. Yeah, I think I've read the description of it. Yeah. So if these are all issues that you have, don't be afraid of reflecting, doing reflection. I didn't know that a lot of us and a lot of grown-ups are scared of reflection, of their own reflection, of reflecting. When a marriage breaks down, do you reflect? When a relationship breaks down, do you reflect? When you have issues or problems or whatever with anybody, do you reflect from that? Self-love is another branch of being able to reflect on yourself. Now, it's not a skill, or maybe I am just weird, as always. It's not a skill. I believe it's just an innate thing that comes with us to be able to reflect. Because I know as a child, I was always able to reflect. But my issue was when I voiced these things out, especially if you're from a family that is narcissistic in the real sense, right? Not the way society throws it around. They might gaslight you, and then you think that what you know and the ideas you have is just crazy. I have always been able to reflect as a child. I have always done reflection. I've always been the one that things would happen, or I would do things, or something will happen at home, and I can go sit somewhere quietly by myself and replay the events back, right? Reflect on them. And now I see that that's actually a superpower. But because I'm from a family that gaslights, and then I ended up gaslighting myself. And if you don't know what gaslighting is, look it up. If you're listening to me and I'm saying gaslighting and you're not saying, yeah, gaslighting, I know what that is, look it up. Because sometimes we hear words and then it just goes over our head. And so because of that, I always felt that I was crazy. If you feel that you don't like yourself, you're not alone. You don't like your skin, you're not alone. You don't like your smile, you're not alone. Luckily, I've always liked my skin, but I've never liked my smile, never liked myself, never liked how I look. It would always blow my mind when people say, oh, you're so exotic, oh, you're so beautiful, oh, your energy. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? But that all depends on how we're raised, right? A lot of people are like me. They think skin bleaching is normal. I have always thought skin bleaching was normal. It confused me. I didn't know why people were doing it. I've mentioned here how all the women who surrounded me were skin bleaching. I was offered the skin bleaching cream when I was 8 years, 7 years? And I had no idea that it's an aspect of not liking your skin, of wanting to be white, of white supremacy, of the idea that whiteness is better and being white is being right. My mother, who gave birth to me, with skin bleach. So I'm not saying this against anybody. But because I was so confused about the idea of skin bleaching, it made me study it to understand, like, why are people doing this? Because it is so much work to skin bleach. Just like braids. But I know that's a cultural thing. If we look at the Himba, I always forget their name, tribes and all of that, and the way that they do their hair, right? But for me, so painful. Well, in the way that we braid our hair now. But this is all a part of loving ourselves and loving who we are. Some people skin bleach because maybe as a child they were constantly told that they were dark. I was constantly told that I was dark. Because if you're from Africa or you've ever been to Africa, you know that it gets hot but not humid. So it's different from the heat that's here in New York or even Atlanta, right? Where it's so humid that the air that you're breathing itself doesn't feel good. But in Africa, it's different. Gambia, specifically, because that's where I'm from, it gets hot. The sun raises all the way to the top. It's a tropical place, just like the Caribbean, right? It's more summer than it is any other season. We don't even have seasons. We have the dry season and the rainy season, right? It's either raining or it's not. So I would walk outside under the sun because I was just always fascinated of how my skin would change and be so super dark. And so I would just walk and get so dark. I used to do it here in New York too, where when it's summer, I would walk 20 to 30 to whatever blocks that I can stand. And by the time summer's end, I'm just very, very dark. And I'm just like, whoa, look at my skin. But doing that as a child, I would get mocked and laughed at, not by outsiders, but my own family. Mr. Black Knight, right when I'm talking about this. I'm from Casamas. I know what you're saying. You're from Casamas. Wow. That's a powerful and a very spiritual place. And I wish as a child I wasn't made to be afraid of Casamas. You know, we are told not to like our culture. And it's so crazy. You know, Casamas, I've always heard the power of Casamas. Some of my family is from Ngor. Ngor in Senegal. So whenever if we're driving or any other things, we would pass by Casamas. It's so crazy, right? So yeah, they would tell me, oh, you have to, look at you, so dark. You use this bleaching cream. But then again, like, these are religious people. Which is why Coach Stormy, if you don't know Coach Stormy, do look her up. I am in her community. People say a lot about her. Well, all the communities that I am in, the owners, which is criticism, right? In marketing, they always say you need haters because haters make people know about you. I wish that wasn't so, but I also wish I learned that at a long time ago, because my business would have been woo. But Coach Stormy would always say, because she's from the Christian faith, I'm from the Muslim faith, Coach Stormy would always say, if you believe in your God so much, but you're poor, or you have a poverty mindset, your life have not changed, nothing in your life have changed, then you have to question, what type of God do you have? If you believe in your God so much, but your life is a mess, then what type of God do you have? Who is your God? And I'm going to end it there. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. What makes you think, what came up for you? Good question, right? Good question. It's a great question. The same way, if I can go a little bit further because I like the If your God is so powerful and you bleach in your skin, who is your God? If your God is so powerful and you believe in your God so much, yet still you believe in the 9 to 5, you believe in the rat race, right? You believe in all this idea of modernization and civilization. What God do you have? You are poor. You have to work millions of hours. You have to trade your time for money, right? Because selling your soul is basically trading your time for the little money they gave you. Yet still, at the end of the week, you go to the church or you go to the mosque and you pray. What are you praying for? What are you praying? Who are you praying to? Yeah, we are very lost. I was one of those people. Until I realized I am God. God is in me. When I pray, I'm talking to myself. That's a great question, right? When I pray, I'm not talking to a man in the sky. I'm not talking to Allah. I'm not talking to Muhammad. I'm not talking to Jesus. I'm talking to myself. I am the Holy Spirit. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a Buddhist. I'm not a Hindu. I am all of it together. I can go to the mosque, yet still hear the voice of the Holy Spirit. Because the Holy Spirit is inside of me. It's not in a church. You know, I was raised in a way and I was told that, oh, if you talk to Christians or you go to the church or you are around Christians, you're gonna die and go to hell. And then I meet Christians who tell me, oh, Jesus is the only way. You need to convert. You need to leave everything. Like I said, like Muji said, everything is a perspective and it's an idea. If there was one right way, everybody will come in unison and do that. Like we know that the things that we hold for granted is the things that give us life. Everybody knows that trees give us life. Everybody knows that you need to drink water or you are dead. Everybody knows that you need to breathe air. Some even go to the extent of having machines to help them breathe. These are part of the creation. These are part of God. These are God. We are God. I always talk about Muji Baba. You need to listen to Muji, right? We are an aspect of creation. We are an aspect of God. And he would always say, and when I say God, you can just, whatever name you want to use, Allah, whatever. He would always say, we as human beings, as spiritual beings, right? The Creator is experiencing life through us. Sloko, you brought all of this. I don't know. You brought something, right? The Creator is experiencing life and experiencing through our eyes, which is why if you really pay attention to your life, I'm having goosebumps. If you really pay attention to your life, whatever you say happens. You can make or break a person. Why are we traumatized? Because some things have been spoken into our lives and they happen. I talk about manifestation and I post about manifestation. Like I say, I create content, like actually edit videos. And I would make these videos and I posted them on my YouTube about manifestation, right? And then this person on my YouTube was like, manifestation is for people who don't want to pray to God. And I was like, I have never heard anybody talk about manifestation without the power of prayer, because you cannot manifest and create without actually praying. But you have to ask yourself, when you are praying, are you praying to the Bible or with the Bible? Are you praying to the Quran or with the Quran? Are you praying to Allah or to Jesus, or are you talking to them? Are these people men in the sky? By the way, why is God a man when actually to give life it has to be a woman who gives birth to the child, right? We get divided that way. Who is your God? Oh, Valencia, you said this is so good. I stay away from talking about God, because it's so, it gets just so many. So people talk so much, right? But I love the conversation of God and these questions, because these are questions I've always had as a child. What can you do to be closer to the Creator? Be closer to yourself. You are the Creator. You create life. You create. We are creators. We create, right? You can create. The people that we talk about, from Steve Jobs to Elon Musk to all these people, they create things, something from nothing. To be closer to the Creator, I saw the quote. I didn't download it. I should have downloaded that quote so I can read it. When you're closer to God, you're closer to yourself. When you're closer to yourself, you are closer to God. There's no difference, right? Because Allah, God, Jesus, whatever is experiencing life through you, through us. When you pray, when you manifest, when you're manifesting, right? When you're manifesting, that means you're trying to create something. Even there's no need to actually try, because we manifest every day. We create every day. You are watching this because you created that some way, somehow, in your being, in your mind. You did not mistakenly join this live today, or if you're watching it after this, you didn't mistakenly come across it. There is no coincidence. In your lives back one time, you as God, you as a Creator, wanted to hear some of the things that I am saying. You place the intention knowingly or unknowingly. When you're closer to yourself, the moment, just like the last questions, right? Do you love yourself? Do you like yourself? You cannot love and like yourself without loving and liking the Creator. Because the moment you love yourself, you see the Creator in yourself. And not the way that religion tells us. Right? The Creator is not idols, right? Idols. And maybe these are even the idols, right? Even though in African spirituality, it's being said that, or even Buddhism, they get that too. They get told that. Hinduism, they get told that they're praying to the idols, to the stones and whatever. But what is a stone? Isn't a stone a natural part of nature that is part of the Creator? But that is part of the creation. Who made the rocks? If you go today to pray to the rock, aren't you praying to the Creator? Did anybody, any human being, make the rock? We laugh at tree huggers, people who hug trees. I mean, I know some people go to the extreme and all of that. But isn't the trees part of creation? It's like what I was saying. We all know trees give us life. Right? We need the trees. These are all, we can all come together and agree on that fact. We need water, we need air, we need fire, we need food, we need the trees, we need the ocean, we need the rocks. Now, what exactly is wrong with praying to these things when nobody made them? But then some of us believe in a white Jesus, some of us believe in a black Jesus. Some of us have been indoctrinated to the point that the churches we go is all white Jesus. Right? I have always asked the question, especially us Africans from the continent that are Muslim. Why do we go to Mecca? Why do we have to go to Mecca? When we have the Yorubas next door, we can go to the River Nile, we can go to Egypt. But we have to go to Mecca. And then people start quoting the Bible. I don't see myself separate from nature. Forgiveness and mercy. Well, this is my first time watching you. And I love your teaching. Thank you. I didn't even think I was teaching, right? But that, again, is part of loving yourself, being able to actually sit down and really think. Who is your God? If you depend on your boss, you depend on a company to put food on your table, to feed your family, isn't that company your God? When you go to pray, what are you praying for? You're praying for the boss to like you. You're praying for a promotion. Are you praying to the Creator? Or you're praying to your boss as your God or your car? If you are a woman and you are constantly praying because your husband is cheating or whatever, and you're praying and whatever, who are you not praying to your husband as your God? Even though sometimes religiously we're being told that to get into heaven you have to go through the man and whatever. All these things that we are being told, where did it come from? Why are they telling us these things? Why were we raised this way? And why did we just believe it and never question it? If you are a Christian, why do you have to be a Christian? Why can't you read and understand the Quran? If you are a Muslim, why can't you go to the church? It's a building. God doesn't live there. And yet, most of today, I was talking about clothes. How, and I had to experience this firsthand. If you check my profile pictures, you would see that I shaved my head. Obviously, I take responsibility for my trauma. I take accountability for the way that I was acting and who I was and the way that I used to be, right? That aside, I had my own healing that I needed to do that I didn't know and I didn't do. That aside. When I had my haircut, it's very different from the way that I am treated now with my head tie. It's very different also sometimes when I feel like just having my scarf, because maybe I'm too lazy and I just have my scarf like that and I have the hijab. It's very different. I get treated differently in all these things. When I wear my ankh, or when I post about in the name of Jesus. Mujibaba, I love Mujibaba. Yes, I'm part of his community here in New York. I'm part of the admin in New York as well. Right? I get treated differently in all. And not much has changed though. In terms of me. When I go out and I love oversized clothes. I love tight clothes. I love oversized clothes. I love big, huge skirts. And at the same time, I love bodycons. I get treated differently in those two. The same person. But aren't clothes man-made? Apart from my own skin, isn't everything I have on man-made. From this to this to this to the earrings to this to the head tie. This is from some factory somewhere, maybe in China. Some people would see me and say Empress, African Queen. But there's a possibility that this that I'm wearing is from a factory in China. Wax. If you are African and you hear this, you know wax. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just Gambia, West Africa, and Nigeria that we call it wax. The African fabric that is well known as an African cultural thing, very colorful because we love colors. Majority of that is made from factories in China. Indoctrination, programming, right? The way that we put on clothes and take them off is the same way that we put on God and take God off. But God cannot go. You need to see yourself to see the Creator. You cannot see the Creator if you don't see yourself. I didn't learn this from school or from the degree you get when you go to school for religion. I can't remember it. It's from my own personal experience, from going from hating myself to loving myself and being able to see myself in somebody else, right? I am behind the screen. You are watching me. I cannot see your face, but I can feel your energy. Why? Because I've gone to the point that I have been able to see God, the Creator, in me. I don't have a script talking about this, right? So loco, I'm thinking is a guy just popped in with a and here I am, just going off. It's not because of my education that I can talk like this. It's not because I'm smarter than you, right? It's because I'm open to the messages of the Holy Spirit, of Allah, to the messages of Buddha, right? You name it, to the saints, whoever. I'm open to their messages. You give me the Bible. I actually have a Bible. I have a Bible. I have a Quran. I have the Jewish Almanac, right? When you're open to do these things, then life becomes very, very different. And Mujibaba, I learned all of these things from Mujibaba too, because I felt the need of exploring different things. And then I came across Muji. And during satsang, which is the meditation sessions or the reflection, contemplative sessions, it doesn't matter what you believe in. You want to come and sing Psalm 23? You sing Psalm 23. You want to come and sing Allah, Allahu Akbar, Allah, you come, you sing it. Everybody listens. Because if it feeds your soul, it's part of the creation. You cannot find God. Okay. In my experience, in my personal journey, I personally do not believe, but you don't have to believe me, I am on the path of exploration. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, 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 right? I believe, and you don't have to believe me, try it for yourself. You cannot find God in the church. You cannot find God in the mosque. You cannot find God on the meditation cushion. I've done all of this. I've lived in a Zen monastery. Kind of a monastery, meditation center, right? You can find the Creator in yourself. If you're a man, you are the Creator. If you're a woman, you are the Creator. We are creators. You can create your life, right? The way you think creates your life. If you are watching me, you have no money, you're broke just like me, it's not God that did that. It's you that did that. It's me, right? I had to come to that accountability of responsibility of my own life to understand that the way that I think, the way that I was raised to think, to see God, to believe in God, to know what Allah is or myself is what brought me to the life that I am living today. If you are not poor, if you are poor, prayer can help, but how are you praying? Are you begging? When you beg, you continue to be a beggar. Because subconsciously, you need to beg. You beg God, you beg your boss, you beg the people at the store. You beg, you beg, you beg, which is very different from asking for help. Ask and you shall receive. But also, how are you asking for the help that you need? I used to pray the 5-day prayers, and I will be crying, and I will be begging. And the things that I'm crying about, it will just continue happening. The cycle. And I'm just like, where is Allah? I'm praying 5 daily prayers plus Fajr, which is the early morning prayers. Right? If you're a Christian, it's basically waking up at 3 a.m. and doing the 3 a.m. prayers. But the way that I was raised to believe what prayer is and what prayer really is two very different things. The way I used to pray, I have stopped all of that. Now I talk to God. I talk to the Creator as the Creator. Right? You are what you believe. You are the things that you do every single day. Just praying to God is not going to help. Many of you probably have seen religious people, Christians, Muslims, you name it, who live in the church or the mosque. This is where they go every day. And they're the most miserable people. All of us have seen it. I'm from that family. They pray 5 times a day. They go to the church maybe Monday and Sunday and Wednesday night and Friday. They're always at the church. Yes, they are. I see it in my community. My community, we are surrounded by 2 things: churches and liquor stores. You get drunk and you go to church. I'm not saying a lot of people do that, but most people do that. Can you get healed by religion? Of course. Can you get healed by the Quran? Yes. Can you get healed by the Bible? Of course. You can get healed by the Quran, by the Bible. You can. I'm a testament of that. But it's a matter of how are you using these as a tools. Do you depend on them? Do you believe that your entire life is a sin? You are dirty, especially us women. We're raised to believe that we're dirty. Something is wrong with us. Our menstruation period, it's but that's the moon cycle. That's nature, right? The moon cycle. Full moon, new moon. There's a new moon, and then it goes to the full moon. Some women, they can track their menstrual flow with the moon. Why? It's part of creation, right? Spiritually, in African spirituality, you can use your menstruation to break or make a person. You can bless the life of your family when you are on your period. Why is it that in most places there's a lot of things religiously a woman cannot do when she is on her period? Why? Because now some of the ladies, in African spirituality would say that now you've morphed, you've changed You are not just a mere human being anymore when you are on your menstrual flow, right? So a lot of people are scared of it. You can't do a lot of things when you are on your menstrual period, because either they don't understand it or they are scared of it. But if you're a woman watching, you know how intense you get. You know how it feels. If you're not sick, right? If you're not so traumatized, because sometimes that sickness that most women get is from a certain kind of trauma and pain that is still in the body, right? But if you're able to cleanse all of that, there's a certain intensity you get when you are in that cycle, that moon cycle. Pray with that. You can do damage or you can do good with it. But the same goes for men, right? Your emotions. That's part of your God-given power. Masculinity, aggressiveness. It's normal if you know how to use it. The masculine power. That animalistic way, right? It's not your detriment. It's not bad for you. It's part of the creation. It's part of the creator. It's part of you. Some people think God is white. I don't know what y'all is. If you're talking about us, you're probably in the wrong life, right? That's part of your power. Okay, you keep saying that, I'm going to block you. You are in the wrong life. You listen, you learn, we share wisdom, positivity. We're one. It's not Africans, Americans, or anything. We are one as a people, soul, human beings. You don't believe in that? It was a pleasure having you here. Adios. So you know what? Yeah, that masculinity, right? Is part of creation. It's part of your God-given power. It's part of. Okay, how do you block people here? How do you block people? I don't have the energy. Okay, bye-bye. Because if you get to the point, like the question that was asked, yes, we are one, right? I'm on TikTok. This thing, this thing on TikTok telling me, yeah, the TikTok there. What was I? Yeah, the masculine and feminine, right? That's also part of creation. That's part of creation. That's God right there. I'm not talking about Eve and Adam and Miriam or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying our innate way of being, right? Who we are fundamentally, right? Never believe in the idea that what a man can do, a woman can do better. That is not true. Because there are things men do that women cannot do. And there are things women do that men cannot do. It's part of creation. It's part of our God-given power. It's part of who we are. It's the same way as in your purpose, right? Kiana, your purpose might be to be a housewife. My purpose might be what I'm doing now, right? The other person, who was it? I just saw Paul. I'm just gonna say Paul. Paul's purpose, be it a man, maybe, I hope, maybe he is what, a boxer. It's all part of creation, right? It's all part of experience in life. It's God experiencing life through us, through who we are. Oh, Afrocentric, you're still here. Wow. Oh my God, 3 hours, 30 minutes. I should go. But yeah, the topic and the conversation of God is exciting, and it's a conversation that I love having. For me, it's just, I'm not here to make people feel good, or motivate you or anything like that, or that person coming here telling y'all Africans, and we are our own devils. Hell is in our mind, heaven is in our mind. We are the devils, we are the saints, we are the gods. We are also the human beings, but we are not really human beings. If you look at it, is human beings not English? Whatever it came from. Somebody would say, oh, it came from Greek, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But that's a word. Even the English language we use, the words, right, that we use, is just like the clothes that we wear. It can be changed at any point. But who we are fundamentally, our soul, you can't put a word to it. If you say the mind, you might have a picture of the brain, right? If I say God, you have different depiction of what God would be. If I say Allah, you might not be able to picture anything at all. It's just blank, at least for me, right? But then I can say God, and then some people can think God, somebody in the sky, or Jesus as God. Different perspectives, different ideas. But to tie it back in terms of figuring out what our pain and our trauma is, because if you're listening to me, right, it's not entertainment. I always say I'm not funny. Right? It's not entertainment. So the things that you believe, you need to figure out where it came from. Who told you what you believe? But also who told them what they believe too? Who told them that? Do you believe that you need to kneel down to pray to God? Do you believe that on Sunday, if you don't go to church, you're going to die and go to hell? Do you believe that if you don't go to the mosque, or you have nail polish, or you have a tattoo, you will die and go to hell? But exactly where is hell? Where is heaven? We have yet to see somebody go to hell and come back and tell us. We get preached on, hellfire, gonna burn you. Sadhguru said, what if we are already in hell? Ever thought about that? That maybe we are already in hell. Some of us are in hell, some of us are in heaven. What is your hell? What if the world that we live in, this is hell already? It's right here, right? Or maybe we're in heaven, yet we are working and fighting and running and killing each other to go to heaven when we are already in heaven. Maybe we're in heaven. Your husband says this all the time. You better listen to your husband. I'm kidding. Yeah, maybe it is it, but we don't know, right? We listen to everybody tell us. We listen to even some of the people we consider prophets or saints or pastors or imams. Ever thought that maybe they themselves, they're still learning, that they don't know, because nobody knows. You never know what you don't know until you know what you don't know. Why is it that our pastors and our imams and all these people, sometimes when we go to hear them speak, they tell us what? I had this realization. I had this awakening. God spoke to me. When somebody says God spoke to me, what do you think? Spoke to them. The man in the sky spoke to them? Or is it their inner being? Is it their soul that is speaking to them? Is it, or maybe it's the messages, downloading messages from the ethers, from wherever, from their ancestors. It's a state of being. Yes, Saloko, it's a state of being. But some people would say, oh, my pastor told me this, so I can't do it. Is another human being telling you, so you cannot do it. God is within us, is here. I posted something on my Twitter. Let me read it, right? And it says, you are God in a physical body. You are spirit in the flesh. You are eternal life expressing itself as you. You are a cosmic being. You are all power. You are all wisdom. You are all intelligence, right? You are perfection. You are magnificence. You are the creator, and you are creating the creation of you on this planet. When you talk about quantum leaping, which is something that I have been, excited about these days, when you quantum leap, right? You want to change your life. Let's put it this way. You hear motivational speakers, you hear different people talk about only you can change your life. Some people listen to Andrew Tate, some people don't. This is how he went viral, but he talks about these issues, right? You cannot be lazy. Only you can take charge of your life. Only you can change your life. You need to take accountability. You need to take responsibility, right? Only you can change your thinking. Why? Because you are God experiencing life. If you have been constantly praying and praying and praying and praying, yet still it feels like your life is going down the drain deeper and deeper and deeper, then your issue is not God. You are your issue. All right, I got to go. And then maybe we can have more of these conversations. And for me, I don't usually have topics. I just read the book. But, we always need that inspiration of somebody to just come and just poke you. And then you start talking. So I'll be here again tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern. And so bring your questions, right? I have the book. Have a great day too, Afrocentric. You always staying with me for so long. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our energies are matched, and I definitely love that. Prayer requires faith, and faith requires action. Yes, 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 definitely. I have it up there. A decal posted up there. But I'll be here tomorrow at 12 noon. I changed the time. Come with your question. It's all part of healing, and we can talk about different things. I'm open to different things, and if I don't know, teach me. I'm here to learn too as well. Have a wonderful, wonderful August. Happy new month. Happy new month before you go. So these are the new month quotes that I posted, mostly on my, I posted it everywhere except TikTok, because TikTok doesn't have words. 10 quotes I'm going to close with that. I'm going to read them for you and close it, right? Because somebody sent me this. Welcome to the new month where everything is new again. New month, new goals, new opportunities, new adventures, new mindset, new beginnings, right? And endless possibilities. Wishing you a wonderful new month filled with love, happiness, and peace. Every day is a chance to begin again. Don't focus on the failures of yesterday. Start today with positive thoughts and expectations. Get ready to level up mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, and energetically. I wish you a beautiful new month from the first day of this month to the last day. In my language, we would always say August, that day Augusto, which means August, always Augusto. So you got to tie your pants, level up, because August will catapult you to where you want to go. So a new month is an opportunity to start everything with restored energy. Your beliefs become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions. Your actions become your habits. And your habits become your values. Your values become your destiny. Forget the past. Embrace the future and the possibilities it represents. Be super excited about opportunities ahead. Not tomorrow, not next month. The time is now, right? Jim Rohn, look him up too. Jim Rohn said, motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. I'm here to give you new habits, not to motivate you. And the last one, and then it's a bye-bye. What you do makes a difference. And you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Because you, ladies and gentlemen that are watching me, you are God. Let nobody fool you. Bye-bye, TikTok. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye, Instagram. Jim Rohn, yeah.